Hi everyone, welcome to Tableau Buddy Talks episode 7. That is giving voice to our community rising star. That's our motive. And before we head on to start the event, we'll just talk about the mission, why we are doing this. It's to support new people out there in the data world who are trying to present the story and trying to present whatever they have learned from the community. And this is one of our mission is also to just help them around so that they can go to bigger platforms like Tableau Conference, other different big user groups. And altogether, the vision is to serve as a platform for speakers all around the world. So be free if you want to speak up. We are always here to hear. And before we head on to the speakers, let's talk about our leaders. First is Vani. So she is a Tableau social ambassador. You already know about her. She's all over there on LinkedIn. She is a data visualization engineer with Expedia Group. And if she's not working, you'll find her reading, singing, or traveling. That's really good. So also you can always connect her on LinkedIn, Twitter, as well as on Instagram. And she has her own website as well. We'll put that link over there in the chat box if you at the end of this session so that you don't go right now. That's the main point. And so apart from that, it's me, Prasann. I'm Tableau featured author. I just got this recognition or this year as well. Very much thankful to the Tableau community for this. I'm also a business intelligence analyst or production engineer at MXGBT. I founded the Tableau Buddy program to help people who are out there like me, who started with nothing and want to grow with Tableau. So that's why I founded the Tableau Buddy program, and with a life motto that the more I'll share, the more I'll learn. That's a really key motto I'm trying to follow because it not only helps others, but it helps me as well. Like my concepts gets cleared more and more. So that's what I do. Apart from that, I'm a data nerd, not a whole nerd, I'll say. So I'm a data nerd, and I talk about data visualization, and most of my time I'll be like watching anime. That's who I am. You can find me on LinkedIn and Twitter anytime. And that's it about us. Coming on to our speakers. So we have a very great lineup today. So we have two speakers, both are featured authors. Ervin Vinzon is coming right from Manila, Philippines. He's going to talk about map layers and how he has been using map layers to build his stunning visualization. His portfolio is very much great. If you want to look at it, we'll shoot that link as well. Coming on to Shaheen, she is a senior analyst at JLL. So we all know what JLL is. So she also became Tableau Public featured author recently. And so as to, because I got this many question, and that's what we came about this topic with Shaheen, that many of us are trying to target and become featured authors. So she's going to share her journey, how she started and how she became a featured author altogether. And apart from that, she'll be also talking about parameter use cases. That's a really good topic. Even if you are an expert or intermediate, parameters are used everywhere. So this is going to be a very good session for all of us. So right away, we'll start with Ervin. So Ervin, take the stage now.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. But first, let me share my screen. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yes, we can, Ervin. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's start. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ervin Vinzon. I'm a Tableau Public featured author and a four-time VC nominee this year. Um, and I'm here today to tell you about how to use map layers and shapes. So, for our agenda for today, uh, we're using map layers to plot shapes. There are two ways on how to use this technique. Uh, there is a manual position technique and there's a fixed position technique. Here's an example of the manual position technique. Uh, if you can see, this visualization uses manual techniques, or this visualization is called 14 peaks. And this is one of my visualizations and also considered by Tableau as Vis of the Day. So what I used uh, in this visualization is the manual position, wherein I manually position each triangle uh, to show the attribute of each mountain. And then, for an example of a fixed position technique, here is my Iron Quest visualization called Star Wars Movies and Awards. In this visualization, I preset the list of awards each movie has gotten. So, how do we do this? So, first, we will need a data preparation. So, here's an example of a data set wherein I made, and then I plan to place it horizontally side by side. So, my players is using X and Y coordinates. Then, from here, after we set our X and Y coordinates into the data set, then let's create shapes on Figma. So on Figma, we're now looking for um, two sets of shapes. Let's start with manual position. How do we do that? So it's just an easy step wherein we create a shape like this, or then we will export each shape as a separate file, then add it to Tableau repository shape folders file. Then we import the shapes and name it what we want, and then um, place it in the Tableau repository shapes folder. Then after that, we will plot the shapes. So for this example, how are we going to plot the shapes? We'll be making a calculated field, which is here, and I wanted to show it manually or actually. So first, we have to create a visualization or a calculated field wherein I make a calculated field wherein I use the make point uh, command and then place the x and y coordinates. Then I add it into the detail to set the foundation of shapes. Then I add the ID. Then set the shapes. Uh, the shapes that we made earlier is a moon shape. So we'll be looking for that. As you can see, we now have the moon shapes. And now, how are we going to use the map layers? Uh, we will make another calculated field wherein we add one the x and y coordinates. Then, basically, we can just like that. If you see the command here wherein it says add mark layers, we place that another calculated field on the sheet, and then place the ID, then set the marks as shape, then we'll set the shapes. Since we have different names for the data set, it will automatically change shapes. It's like that. Uh, we have created another set of shapes in Figma that we imported here in this worksheet. Then add the size for each one. So if you think this is not aligned, just what we are planning to do, which is to place the shape or the shape above the moon. So how are we going to do that? We have to uh, add or change the numbers to be added in these x and y coordinates. So I preset and look for the other um, shapes or other coordinates wherein uh, uh, where now it is now showing the right position that I wanted it to show. So let's clean the worksheet. How to do that? Just go to background layers and then remove these options to make it seem like it's a canvas. Then for our uh, dashboard, we can remove the background and voila, it's now showing the we're now finished with the manual position technique. Now, what is the pros and cons of this manual technique? The first is tooltips. We can preset or set the tooltips of each shape that has been layered. So for example, for the base 2, I wanted to only show the name and the size. And for the base, I wanted to show the ID. If you go back here, then you can see that it is showing differently. But look at here, it's not showing. Why? Because the shape is big enough to cover the shape below. So we need to again adjust the shapes. That is the cons or the disadvantage of using manual positioning technique. Now, let's go on how to use this fixed position technique. So for the fixed position technique, we're now again here in Figma. Here is a sample frame wherein uh, first we uh, this is the shape, then place the shape on a frame. Then how do we set the fixed position or the preset the position of each shape to show it in Tableau? Uh, First, we have to choose the frame, then remove the fill of the frame, then export this frame onto the shapes folder and of Tableau. Then, how can we add shapes into that? Uh, we'll remove the before shape, the moon, then add the star, then export this exact frame on Tableau Shapes folder. Okay, so based on this, we'll just create or use the calculated field that we have made a while ago. So here is our fixed sheet. So we're using the base that has been used earlier or been created earlier, where I use make point and x and use the x and y coordinates. Then add it to the detail, then add the ID, then add the shape. Now, we'll set the shapes to be moon again. Forgot that one. Shapes, then more shapes, then shape layers. Okay. So now, we're showing the first layer that we made just like here in the manual sheet. Then, how to add the next layer. We'll just use this base um, calculated field that we make and um, look for the add marks layer notification, then add this. As you can see, it is now fixing the position of the second shape. Then change this into shape, then add the ID, then add the name or whatever field you want. Then add the size for this one. Then adjust the size. Uh, Now we are now able to build the fixed position technique. And then clean our worksheet. Uh, Remove this one. Then on background layers, remove this checklist so that uh, it will look good onto our worksheet. So what is the pros and cons of this fixed position technique? The pros is we can preset the position of each shape. As you can see, we have preset the position of the shapes here in Figma, and that is what it came actually here, just differs in position or in size. Then the tooltips. Uh, of course, the latest tooltips or uh, the latest um, layer that has been layered here will be shown, that will be the tooltip that be shown, not the based one. So on summary, uh, we're able to talk on how we can take advantage of map layers features and shapes. And there are pros and cons of each technique that may help depending on your use case. So if you want to learn more, I would recommend a blog by CJ Mays and Priya Padam. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are many ways how we can take advantage of the map layers. There's a blog by Tableau Visionary. Sorry about that one. There's a blog by Tableau Visionaries Jeffrey Schaefer and Luke Stanky, wherein they're using the map layers to create charts or in Tableau. So that's all for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this amazing session, Ervin. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think most of our audience as well enjoyed it. Very clear instruction. We got these comments, amazing presentation. So we have one question. I think most probably we cleared it, but it's about what are X and Y coordinates. So can you just give a brief about why you have you used the X and Y coordinates?
Uh, the X and Y coordinates are our guide to plot the points in the worksheet. So if we're preparing the data on Excel, we can preset the X and Y coordinates of how we wanted to look the visualization we want.
Thank you. So we'll move ahead. Thank you so much, Erwin. That was a super one. And next we have up is Shaheen Arshiya, who is a senior analyst at JLL, and she'll be talking all about being a featured author and different use cases of parameter. Shaheen, take the stage.
Thank you, Prasan. Thank you, Vani, and also thank you, Ervin, that you made math layers look too easy for us with your simple explanation. Thank you so much. So I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, so today I'm just going to talk about my Tableau learning journey. Now, I actually come from a non-technical background, and Tableau was something that I took out of pure personal passion. And that was mainly when I was taking care of my daughter during my maternity. That's when I actually started learning Tableau. So I feel coming from a non-technical background and also with not much of professional experience, if I can do it, and then definitely anyone can learn Tableau and achieve success. And also I agree with the Prasan's motto, which is the more I share, the more I learn. That is also truly one of the mottos I stand by. So let me start. A bit about myself. I'm Shaheen or Shaheen Arshiya. I'm the senior analyst at JLL, and also I have been given the recognition of becoming the Tableau feature author for which was very recent. So that is me actually professionally, but personally, I'm also a mom. I'm mother of a 6-year-old daughter. So my daughter has been in, along with me in my Tableau journey since the beginning of my Tableau journey, actually. So I have to thank her the most for her understanding and for her patience to let me learn Tableau in my own free time. So thanks to her. And also, other than that, if I am not doing Tableau or if I'm not taking care of my daughter in my free time, I just like to read or go out and try out new places to eat. So I'm usually very active on social media, and I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. So if anyone wants any kind of advice or even sort of motivation for you all to learn Tableau, just to reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to help you out. So a bit about how it all started. Well, my Tableau learning journey actually started when, with the help of my family. It's actually my father who introduced me to Tableau. So he downloaded Tableau at work in his own workplace, and he told me about it. And I was really intrigued. I was blown away by the concept of data and data visualization and how we can use Tableau to analyze our data and make it so easy for our users to understand our data. And that's when I sort of picked it up and started learning Tableau on my own. So when I thought of what are the steps that I took to learn Tableau, I could actually see that there are certain phases or parts of learning Tableau, because my Tableau learning journey was, you can say it's for about 2 years. It took me actually 2 years to reach where I am today. And it did not take me like in one go. I did take some breaks in between. I took it at my own pace to learn. So that is why I've kept it like in phases of learning. So I will start now with my first phase of learning, which is basically learning about the Tableau fundamentals, the environment, and also a bit about the certification. Okay, so the first thing what I did was I downloaded Tableau Desktop, the trial version, which is only for 30 days. And I started just going around in, outside Tableau and even inside Tableau, just learning about the whole environment of Tableau. So what I started to, just look around and see how Tableau looks like and what is a live connection, what is an extract, and also what are the different types of data that we have, and even going inside the worksheet and trying to understand the difference between dimension, measure, continuous discrete fields, and also what is happening in the marks card and so on. So basically trying to understand the whole environment of Tableau and trying to get comfortable with Tableau. So one of the things that I found which made it easy for me to learn and work around Tableau was the Tableau's e-learning platform. Tableau has its own e-learning platform with a lot of learning paths in it. There is a data analyst path, there's a data scientist path. So I chose to learn the data analyst path because that is one thing that I wanted to become, a data analyst. So I chose that path, and I sort of there are different levels. There are beginner, intermediate levels. So you kind of start from nothing with Tableau, and then you sort of go into the very advanced levels of Tableau, like LOD and so on. So I recommend anyone who wants to learn Tableau, invest a bit on their e-learning. And at the end of it, you get a badge. So you can always put it up on your social media. Another thing that I started doing after getting, getting known to the environment is basically experimenting with the Show Me tab. Now, with the Show Me tab, I actually learned that there are so many different ways that you can visualize your data. So it just shows a lot of different ways you can. But later on, I also learned that these ways are not maybe the best possible ways to visualize your data. So kind of I was just playing around with the Show Me tab and trying to understand how differently we can visualize your data. And then after that, I was a little bit overconfident, and I went for the Tableau desktop certification, which that was one of the learnings I think I should share, that please don't do that very soon enough, because try to put out some quizzes, try to get more practice, and then probably go for the desktop certification. Because to be told, I barely passed the exam. So if you want to get better marks or feel little less anxious, then please do practice a little more on that. So then I took a break in between after the desktop certification because due to family things and so on, and also because COVID started. I didn't really pay much attention to my Tableau yet. Then soon after, I remember exactly in the time of December 2020, that was when COVID also started, and naturally everyone had to do something. And so I thought, okay, let's sit down seriously with Tableau and start practicing. So that is when I started with my Tableau practice. So what I did was I downloaded Tableau Public 10. And when I downloaded Tableau Public, I couldn't find much of data sets to practice with. It was very difficult for me because I didn't have no one to guide me or no one to actually tell me that, okay, you can use these data sets. They are community projects to work with. So literally, I just went into Google and I typed Tableau data sets, and that is what I did. And when I did that, the first thing that popped up was Makeover Monday. And Makeover Monday, I went into Makeover Monday and saw that there are tons of data sets and all cleaned up, which is also very useful for a new person, in the data field for me, to get clean data sets, polished data sets. And all you had to do was basically sit down and visualize it. I cannot thank Andy and Eva Marie, who are the community leaders of this project, enough, because I've learned the most from them. And even today, I find their videos really useful. Very simple to understand for a beginner. So I recommend anyone who wants to practice can probably start off with Makeover Monday. So this is one of the first quizzes that I created. Well, it may not look like a great whiz as such, but I keep it still in my Tableau public profile because whenever I feel like, okay, I'm kind of like demotivated or I feel, I need a boost, I just look into this visualization and think, okay, I've come far enough. I've come a long way. So that way I just sort of started practicing using Makeover Monday and even Workout Wednesdays. Workout Wednesdays, I feel even still at work, I feel you can do Workout Wednesdays even today because technically you can improve your skills. It's not just about visualizing, but also increasing your technical knowledge. Then Workout Wednesday is a good thing to do. And another thing that I started doing was getting inspiration, and the inspiration was going into people's Tableau public profiles, following them and trying to download their workbook and trying to see how did they do this, how did they visualize it. For me, main thing is also I visualize it in a particular way and then I see someone else visualizing it. It gives a whole new perspective of the data. So that was very interesting for me to learn. So I learned a lot from the community itself. And slowly I joined the data farm community. Well, the data farm community, I joined after maybe like few quizzes I put out. I didn't join immediately, but I joined it because I really liked the kind of feedback sessions that they were giving in Makeover Monday. And to be told, the first day I opened, I did not have a Twitter account before that. So the first day I opened a Twitter account and I put out my whiz. And that day they reviewed my whiz as well, which was very, very nerve-wracking for me actually. So, and also a few things to be spoken about the data farm community is they are all amazing people in the data farm community who will guide you and who will help you out in your Tableau learning journey. You just have to just go and say, hi, I'm new here, I'm learning Tableau, and they are more than happy to help you out. So next thing is I intensively sat down and started preparing my Tableau portfolio. So how did I prepare is I made it a commitment that I participate in all the weekly Makeover Monday challenges. It was sort of a commitment that I did for myself, and I did. But unfortunately, they had to stop in mid-October or something, and that's where I also stopped kind of doing Makeover Monday. But other than that, I started also publishing a lot of these quizzes that I created on Twitter and LinkedIn. When I started publishing on LinkedIn, I got a lot of opportunities, a lot of interviews, and a lot of people started noticing. So anyone who wants to who wants to get recognition, do put it down on social media, no matter how your whiz is, even if it's basic or you're not confident about it. People will give you feedback and people will help you grow. So don't worry about that. And I cannot stress enough, practice, practice, practice. Yes, I can't remember how many times I had to like shut down my dashboard out of frustration because I was not really happy with the way it is, and I had to start all over again. And it's just about patience and practice that will honestly make it better for you and also get you up to speed. So throughout my journey, I actually also invested in some of learning resources like books. And these are all the books that I had actually purchased on my own and, sort of found it very useful for me to learn Tableau. For example, I found storytelling with data and practical Tableau to be the most useful because they are very good for beginners, and especially with storytelling with data. If you want to learn about visual best practices, what works and what doesn't work, then I suggest that you please invest some money and do buy these books. It's invaluable. So once I was done with the Makeover Monday, I started focusing more on projects which were of personal interest to me. And since I am also I did my major in business, so I like to talk about topics of interest like in business and economics and so on. So I started whizzing on that, and that's where I felt a little bit comfortable also talking about things that I'm passionate about. Then I learned a bit about data storytelling. Now, data storytelling is it's a very powerful concept, because it's not just about doing your analysis as such, it's also about taking your users and from like giving a story to them about your data, like what has happened, why it has happened, what could be the solution for your problem, and sort of guiding them through your whiz. That is what I'm also focusing on, that I want to guide my users through my whiz, make them comfortable. And my motto is like, if even if a layman who hasn't ever heard about such a topic, they should see my whiz, and it should be very easy for them to understand. So that is one thing that I do. And wireframing dashboards. Now, funny enough, wireframing dashboards, I used to call it as sketching my dashboard or drawing my dashboard. Like, for example, here, this is just a small snippet of my drawing. But I did not know that there is a word called wireframing until I attended an interview and they asked me, do you wireframe dashboards? And I said, what is wireframing? And they told me it's basically you just sketch out your dashboard before you put it out. I said, yeah, I do. And then I realized it's actually called wireframing. So that was something new also I learned. And almost in the end, I joined JLL, or you could say I also became a Tableau featured author this year. So that whole portfolio and practice, everything, it took me a whole year, actually speaking. And what got me the most recognition was my Whiz of the Day, which I put out, I think, in November. So this Whiz of the Day actually got me a lot of recognition from the community itself. People were, they were encouraging me, and they were so many amazing people from the community were putting me out. So that really got me the attention that was required. And I got a lot of interviews as well after this, and a lot of companies contacted me. And also, especially, got a call from JLL, which is the most, greatest thing that has happened to me this year, was joining JLL. And I'm going to take a bit of time here and do a bit of branding for JLL, because JLL is such a company that helps you also grow, not only, it helps you grow personally as well. So they're a company which focuses on your own personal growth. So I highly recommend, if anyone ever gets a call from JLL, please do join. You'll get to work with amazing Tableau ambassadors and amazing Tableau people from the community itself. And also, because of the community and the participation in the community, I feel I was also being given the recognition of Tableau featured author, which is a big deal for me, because I am quite, not putting out much of whizzes or anything at the moment because of work and all that. But because of the participation in the community and what, I think people were very kind enough to give me this recognition. The Tableau was kind enough. So other than that, any other kind of useful tips that I would like to give is, first of all, try to seek feedback. See, for me, it was very difficult for me to seek the feedback from anyone as such, because I was, learning on my own. So basically, my whole setup was, I was just at home in my living room. I had my computer set up in one corner, and my daughter was behind me playing. And she was entertaining herself, and I was also taking care of herself, yes, but I was at the same time learning. So for me, getting feedback and from anyone was actually not possible, because I was also not working at that time. Professionally, I couldn't get feedback. So if you can get feedback, and if you are in a professional environment where you're using Tableau, always try to seek feedback, because that will make you better in your business. Also participate in a lot of community projects, because I feel like more than before when I was learning, now there are lots of community projects that you can participate in, and there are a lot of different streams, I can say. Like, for example, you have Back to Wiz Basics. If you're a very new person who's using Tableau, I think you can really try this out, where they teach you about basic charts, basic visualizations, and try to bring in your creativity into it. And then there are, like, a lot of community projects like EduWizards and Wiz for Social Good. These are all some, I'm just pointing out some of them, but I'm sure there are a lot of them over there in the community. If you dig in, you can basically find your area of interest and also Sports with Sunday. So Sports with Sunday is actually run by our JLL people, CJ Mays and Simon. So they run Sports with Sunday, and if anyone's interested in sports data, I highly recommend you to please participate. And also, you can talk about the topics that you are passionate about. If at all you don't find community projects, then try to find data or something that you're passionate about and talk about it. And another thing that you can do is develop your own style of quizzing, in the sense that try to make yourself look a little bit unique from others. It doesn't have to be very unique, doesn't have to be, crazy charts or something. It's just maybe your style of formatting, maybe the kind of colors that you use is unique and different from others. So kind of try to find your own niche, I would say. So yeah, build your own Tableau public profile and blog. That is another thing. Keep building it. Even if you are okay in a good position or anything, try to blog if you can. Talk about Tableau topics, anything that you want. Participate in the community, contribute to the community. And also, of course, get inspired from them. And if at all none of these tips ever worked for you all, just kind of say hi to the data farm community after this call. Just tell them that, hi, I'm new to the data farm, I want to learn Tableau, and people will be more than happy to jump in and help you out. So this is kind of the Tableau learning journey that I have. So now I'm going to go into a bit of technical aspects of Tableau, and I'm going to present on parameters. Now, why I chose to present on parameters is because as a beginner, it was a little difficult for me to understand what parameters are, because parameters and filters, they looked very similar to me. I couldn't understand them, but the more I used them, I could actually find out the difference and try to understand parameters and how powerful is parameters, actually speaking. So I will just start off with a basic definition of a parameter, and then we can go into some use cases, some examples that I can show you on how you can use parameters in your daily use. So a parameter is a workbook variable such as number, date, or string that can replace a constant value in a calculation filter or reference line. So a parameter is a workbook variable. Now, when they say workbook, it means that a parameter is not just limited to a single worksheet. You can use that parameter throughout your workbook. It's global. And also it's a variable. So variable is, in mathematics, we say variable is not constant, it changes, it holds a value. So a parameter is actually a workbook variable that can hold a number, a date, or a string. And so parameters are of different types. It can be either a number, a date, or a string, and it can also help you to replace a constant value. And that constant value could be in the form of a calculation, or it could be in the form of a filter or a reference line. So today I'm kind of giving an example of them in a where you can use a parameter in a calculation, where you can use in a filter, or in the form of a reference line. So I think I will now go on to Tableau and start presenting on parameters. Okay, so the main reason why we use parameters is because it actually helps to increase the interactivity with your users. When you are trying to increase the interactivity, when you're trying to make the user more, make your dashboard more usable for the user, then you sort of start using parameters. It gives them a kind of a power, or kind of an interest into your dashboard, and they start to play around with your data, basically. So for example, the first kind of use case scenario that I would like to use for my parameters is if your user wants to learn about the top N customers, for example. So let's see if we have some customers, and we have like around 700, more than 700 customers, and I want to see the sales by customers, but I don't want to see all of my sales. I just want to see, say, top N. Now that N can be used by can be in data input by the user. So that is basically done with the help of a parameter. So when you basically go into filter, and then under filter, you have something called as top. There are different kinds of filters, right? So in filters itself, there is top. And if you go into top, if you say by field and you say by top 10, or you can either enter a value which is going to be fixed, or you can create a new parameter. So in this,
Sorry to say, are you sharing your Tableau screen? Because we are not able to see your screen, Tableau screen.
oh, okay. Can you see now?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me start again. So what I basically did was I want to see the top N customers. I bought in the customer name and the sales, and I want to see just the top few, how many ever numbers of customers that you want. So this is sort of the easiest way that you can use a parameter. You can make use of a parameter. You just go into filters and then you say top N and go into top by create a new parameter. So this is how you create a parameter in an easy manner. And then you say top N and give it okay. So here we are going to see it as a range. That means it's going to be like a slider and you'll be able to just slide the values and you can see it as a range. You can enter how many ever values that you want. Give the option of 200, 500 customers that they want to see and say, okay. And now we can see that it is sort of filtered down. So if I want to show the parameter and sort of play around here, I can see that I have like 53 customers that are filtered in. So this is one of the ways that you can use parameters, the easiest way. The another way that you can use a parameter is if you want to create a parameters manually. The same top N, I'm going to show it to you in a different way. So let me delete this. Okay, so now I come here and the same way that you create a calculator field, you can create a parameter and let me call it as top N again. And here we're going to specify what sort of parameter it is like. Is it a date? Is it an integer? And what kind of input that, depending on the input, you basically choose the kind of parameter that you're going to have. So for me, for this example, it's going to be an integer. And so when you're the current value means at when you are like filtering the dashboard or filtering the parameter, what kind of filter, how many filters do you want, how many values do you want it to be filtered? So for example, I'm going to choose 5 for now. And when your workbook opens, it's going to be the current value, which is 5. And also display format is whether you want to display it in terms of number, currency, or percentage. So for now, we're going to choose automatic. And here you can choose your parameter. If you want to say, if you say all, then it's going to be like a text box where you can input the numbers. If you say list, it's going to be like a drop down for the user where he can just choose a number. And if it's a range, then it's going to be like the scroll bar, which we saw in the previous example. So I'm going to just choose all right now. And I'm going to say show parameter, and it's not going to work. Now, why it's not working is because we haven't told Tableau yet to filter it by this parameter. So parameters, it has to be kind of wired into the dashboard. You cannot simply just put in like filters and it will filter automatically. They have to be wired in the dashboard through a calculation, or it has to be told. So in this case, we can just go into sorry, there is some problem with the mouse. Yeah. All right. Huh. Okay, so we have the customer name here, and if we sort of, I'm sorry, but there is some sort of a technical issue that I'm facing right now. So basically, if you just right click on this, you will be able to see the same top N and try to filter it out using the same parameter, which is top N. So that is the way you can also filter it out here. So it's basically the same thing, but instead of saying top N through filters, what we do is we create it separately and then we say top N. So now I'll go into another example of using a parameter, which is basically changing your dimensions. Now, what does it mean by changing your dimensions? It means that suppose my user comes to me and he tells me that I want to see sales, but I don't want to see sales just by region, but also by different dimensions. Like I want to see sales by segment, by category, and so on. So I give him the option of choosing those dimensions, and you can actually do that with the help of a parameter. So what we can basically do is, let's go again here and say create parameter. So when we create a parameter, say, let's call it as choose dimension and say string, because the input that we're going to give is in the form of a string. And now we're going to choose a list. So this list is going to be like a drop-down menu for the user. So for example, let's give him the option of choosing between region, segment, and category. Okay, and suppose I want to see, let me bring in segment, and I want to see the sales by segment. So at the moment, if we try to change any of the view that we have, it's not going to change, because again, as I said before, we have to wire it in the dashboard. And the way that we can wire it in the dashboard is now through a calculated field. So the calculated field should be such that when you choose your parameter, that is when you choose a region, it should give you a region. If you choose your segment, it should give you a segment. And if you choose category, it should give you sales by category. So this is using a case statement, but you can also use if then else statement to do the same thing, but it's just going to be all the same, either case or if then else, whatever you are comfortable with. So now I say, okay. And so instead of bringing only the segment field, now I'll bring this dimension parameter over here. And then if now I change it into segment, we can see that the view is changed by segment. If I say by category, it's by category, or region by region. So kind of gives that option to the users to choose. Another way that you can use a parameter, like we change our dimensions, we can also change our measures. And suppose my user comes to me and says that I don't want to see only sales, but I also want to see average sales. I want to see average profit, total profit, and so on. So again, we're going to input it as a string. And always remember that whenever you are inputting your values here, it should match the same as in your calculations, your calculated field. Because if you don't, then because parameters are actually case sensitive. So if you don't match the values as the same as in your display as or in your calculated field, then your parameter won't work. So I'm going to say, I want to see total sales. I'm going to see average sales, total profit, average profit. Okay. Now let's rename the parameter. All right. So, and now suppose I want to see timely sales. So let me put the year here, and I say that I want to see sales by over year. Okay. So my viewer doesn't only want to see just sales, he wants to see also average sales and average profit and so on. So again, this view won't change because we haven't wired in the parameters yet. So what I have done is I have created a calculated field as well, same as before, where you choose your parameter and then it should give you the values, that is average sales or total profit, depending on the selection that is being made. So instead of the measures sum of sales, I will bring in the measures parameters, and now you can already see the view is being changed. So if I say total sales, it's going to show me total sales. If I say average sales, it's average. If I say profit, it's going to be profit, and average profit will be average profit. So that's how you can give that interactivity to your users using parameters. Now, another way that you can also use parameters is when you want to use it in the form of a reference line. Now, a reference line, like for example, you have a date and you want to highlight the values between the two dates. So that is when parameters are very useful to use. So we're going to create a date parameter now. And we're going to say that we want to give the user the option of choosing a start date. And it's going to be, it's going to be all, and he can basically choose anything from the parameter itself. So let's say, okay. And then also we're going to create another parameter, which is, for the end date. And let's see, okay. So also show the parameter. Okay. Now, suppose again, let's look at the order date and let's look at the things. Okay, let's just look at the year of order date. Now, for example, I want to give him the option of choosing or just highlighting the area that is between the start date to the end date. And this one, the user can dynamically choose with the help of this parameter. So what I have to basically do is I have to go into analytics and say we have a reference band. So we're going to choose it as a reference band. So, okay, so what it has to do is it's actually the date is not filtering in for some reason. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give the option of choosing the start date and the end date for the user. And this can also be done with the help of a parameter. Usually what you do is you just go into analytics and you click on reference band, and an option of choosing the start and end date will appear, where you can choose your start date and end date, and it will dynamically change the view. So that is I was supposed to show this, but for some reason there is some technical problem with the mouse, and I'm not able to do so. So apologies for that. But that is it. That is all the use cases that I have for parameters. So parameters itself is a very powerful tool. It's just not about top in or change in dimensions. You can do a lot of things with parameters, give the interactivity for the users, and sort of let him play with the data. So that is it. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shaheen, for such a superb session on parameters and the use cases. I think all of us enjoyed it, also digging into deep into the small blocks, parameters, how to wire them. That was very interesting to see. Apart from that, if we talk about the journey, so one thing that I found that is very much important for each of us, like set your own pace. Don't see what they have done, where they have reached, but set your own pace as per your time limits, as well as, because it's not just work that we have. As a human, we have a lot of things to do, and as per that, we should set our own pace. Also, getting into the inspiration part, the data sets, that was all amazing. I think you provided a whole starter kit for anyone who wants to start up right today, and that was so wonderful. We have one question that was it's one thing that really I also felt the problem when I didn't knew about Tableau and as well as the data fam. That is how to get into data fam. Is there a registration or how to get into this data fam?
Nothing. If you just have a Twitter account or even a LinkedIn account, just go and say hi, hashtag data fam, and just say I'm new to Tableau. Can you please guide me? And there'll be like a bunch of people, everyone joining in to help you out and giving you a lot of resources. It's so easy. And I recommend everyone to, just go after the call. If no one has contacted a data firm, to get in contact with them, because they will give you the easiest of the resources. And I think I should have done that at the beginning of learning Tableau. It would have made it more easier for me. So I recommend you all to do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this input. So guys, you don't need to register or fill a form or do anything to join DataFam. That's how it is. So you just need to go there, show yourself up, or even you don't want to, just search that hashtag DataFam and you are in. That's what the Tableau community is. Pretty much simple, and people are always there to hold hands, guide you, mentor you. So take the best help from the best people out there. That's it. So thank you so much, both of you, for the sessions. We have small announcements to make. The first one is that Tableau Ambassador program is up. So if you think that if you want to nominate people who are out there contributing to the community, like Ervin, Shaheen, you can please nominate them. If you want to nominate yourself, you can do that as well. And fill that form. Please put in your nomination, because each nomination is worth it. So that's one of our announcement. The second one is that we have a Tableau Buddy Slack channel as well. So if you want to keep up with all that updates and resources that we are bringing out there, surely we are putting it on the LinkedIn. But if you want to stay updated and get ahead of what is happening around there in the Tableau community and what Tableau Buddy is bringing up to you, you can join the Slack channel. And we hope to bring lots of such sessions as well as resources so that you can get started, as well as if you want to be an expert, we're always there to help. So these are two announcements from our side. If any of you have any questions, you can put that up right now. So we are getting good comments, like people thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's really good. Thank you so much, everyone. I think we do not have any questions. If you feel that you have any questions around parameters, data farm community, how to get started, or even anything around Tableau, you can always ping any of us, or you can put that particular question with the hashtag data farm on Twitter. That's also one way. So please be frank and just show up. Thank you all for coming.